Hi, sixth graders. Hope you're doing well. We're going to start with a little bit of singing and then talk about counting today. So we're going to review two songs that I taught you a few weeks ago, Sorry-Da and Push the Business On. So the first one is Sorry-Da, and let's start with a couple of sighs. Whoo! Whoo! And go down and up. Woo! And up and down. Woo! All right, now that your parents think you're a little strange, we will sing Sorry-Da. Sorry-Da is a clapping game, and it goes like this. Sorry-Da, Sorry-Da. And the next part is you take the back of your right hand and you pretend like you're playing patty cake with me, only the back of your hand. Re-da, re-da. And then we do it again. Sorry-Da, Sorry-Da, re-da, re-da. Next part is da-da-da. Right, left, together. Da, 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 da. Then re-da again. Back of your hand. Re-da, re-da. Then da, da, da. Da, 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 da. And now the back of your hand again. Re-da, re-da. Okay, that's all there is. It's a little confusing at first, but you'll get it. Ready, go. Sorry-Da, Sorry-Da, re-da, re-da. Sorry-Da, Sorry-Da, re-da, re-da. Da, 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 da. Re-da, re-da. Da, 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 da. Re-da, re-da. All right, and the next song is Push the Business On. And we're going to start here, and it goes, Will, and I think I'm going to pat my lap. You can pat your lap with me. We'll hire a horse and steal a rig, and all the world will dance a jig. We will do whatever we can to push the business on, to push the business on, to push the business on. We will do whatever we can to push the business on. And then the beginning is usually a little bit of a fermata like this. Will, and then we try to go faster. Hire a horse and steal a rig, and all the world will dance a jig. We will do whatever we can to push the business on, to push the business on, to push the business on. We will do whatever we can to push the business on. All right, fun. Now we're going to talk about time signatures. So you might be going, wait a second, we just talked about key signatures. And we did. And remember, time signatures are having to do with numbers. I talked about time recalls numbers in your brain. So time signatures have to do with numbers. Okay, so we talked about key signatures in the other video. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you do. Key signature is between the clef and the time signature. So that means the time signature is the other thing that we're looking at next to the clef. And it's two numbers, one over the other, and it tells us two different pieces of information about the song. It informs us about how we're going to sing this song or play this song. So if you don't know what the time signature is, you're going to struggle singing or playing the song. So we've talked about this before many times in class. Let's talk about it again. The top number always means the number of beats per measure. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the beats per measure. Top number tells you that. The bottom number tells you what kind of note is supposed to get one beat. If you know, for example, that the quarter note gets one beat because the 4 on the bottom stands for quarter note, that means every time you see a quarter note, you're going to give it one beat. So if I have 4 tas in a row, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. If I have 4 TTs, a TT, 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 I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because there's only 4 beats in a measure. So I would count 4 TTs, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now if I have 4 ticka-tickas, I know that a ticka-ticka is not 4 beats, it's 1 beat. So if I have to count that, it has to have the number plus a bunch of different gibberish to show that I'm still keeping track of it, but it's not the next beat. So we count 16th notes like this. 1 E-anda, 2 E-anda, 3 E-anda, 4 E-anda. So ticka, 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 ticka. 1 E-anda, 2 E-anda, 3 E-anda, 4 E-anda. Okay, so those are some basic things about time signatures. The top number means, and the bottom number is the type of note. So 4 stands for quarter note, and I might later give you a way of remembering that 4 is a number that always stands for quarter note. Okay, counting rules. Before we count our rhythm down here, let's review. How do we count a measure? Well, a lot of this is just common sense. So that's number 1. Look at the time signature. You have to figure out how many beats are there per measure and what kind of note is supposed to get the beat. So that's the first rule. It's kind of like when you pull out a map, you want to know what city am I looking at, or what does that red line stand for, or what does that symbol mean? And as soon as you know how to read the map with knowing the key, then that's going to tell you everything else. So the time signature will inform you of beats per measure and the type of note that gets the beat. Number 2, when you count, you always start with 7. No, you start with 1. So always start your measure with 1. Common sense. Number 3, common sense. Count in numerical order. If you have TT, 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 you're not going to go 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 and. No, you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So that was common sense. Number 4 is the one that is the most tricky, just because it doesn't sound very intuitive at first, but it is. Use the rhythm's value to tell you what to put under it. So if you have a half note is worth 2 beats. So you're going to put 2 numbers on it to show that it's worth 2 beats. 1, 2. Now, of course, if you know that there's 2 quarter notes in a half note and the quarter note gets 1 beat, you're going to put 1, 2 under it. If the half note gets 1 beat and you see a half note, you're going to only put 1 number under it. But in this case today, we're talking about 4/4 time. So we know that a half note has 2 quarter notes under it, or 2 beats under it, so I have 1 and 2. So 2 numbers under it. Now, if I have 2 eighth notes, 2 eighth notes, a TT, each one is a half. So that means when I put the 1 under it, I want to show that the 1 is a half a beat, and then the next symbol, the next eighth note, is also a half a beat. So I can't say 1, 2. If I say 1, 2, that means this is 1 beat and this is 1 beat. Since these are each a half a beat, I'd call this one 1, and then I'm going to call this one and. So you have, again, 4 TTs in a row, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now there are a lot of different naming systems out there. I use and for TTs and 1E and for 16th notes. Okay, let's go to number 5, common sense. Finish with the total number of beats per measure. So if you have 4 TTs once again, and you finish with 3 and, something's wrong in the first section of your measure. So make sure you always finish with the total number of beats per measure, which is the top number of the time signature. All right, let's count a simple 2-measure song. We start with the time signature. What is our time signature? 4/4 time. That means I have how many beats per measure? 4. And what kind of note gets the beat? Quarter note. And quarter note is a ta, right? So here's our ta. I start with 1. I don't skip it. Now, you never start with any of those other naming symbols like and or e and a. You always start with a number. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're done with 1. Now we have a TT. We're on to 2. But 2 is only halfway done. I can't put a 3 here because 2 is a half a beat. So I'm going to call the next eighth note and. I like to draw a plus. It's a little bit less messy looking. All right, now I have 4 16th notes. Each of them is a 1/4 of a beat. I'm going to start with what number? 3 because I'm going in numerical order. And I'm using the rhythm's value to tell me what to put under it. So since 3 is the next number, and since the 16th notes are each a quarter of a beat, I can't go on to 4. I'd also be in trouble if I went on to 4 here, because then this would be something like 7 or something like that. So I have to finish with 4. Therefore, I have to call these next 3 16th notes our little gibberish. So we know that here's an 8th note and an 8th note if we had just 8th notes and no 16th notes. So I'm going to put my 3 and there. And then I call this E and A. So 3 E and A. All right, the measure is done. I start all over again. What number do I start with? 1. And here's a half note. How many beats in a half note? 2. So I have the first beat, and now I have to go to the next beat. So what do I put under the 1? A 2. Now at this time, I use parentheses. Why? Because when we say 2, we don't go 2, ooh. We don't hear the individual beats. We hear one sound over 2 beats. 1. All right, now when we go to the next beat, we are on a rest, and you're going to treat that the same way. You're going to use parentheses because you don't hear it. So now it's going to sound like this. 1. So now we go to our next number. We're in numerical order. We're done with 3 because the rest is only 1 beat, and we're on what number? 4. We can't put a 5 there because that would mean the 8th notes are each 1 beat. So what do we put after the 4? And. All right. We're done counting our 2 measures. Now we're going to clap it and say it. All right. You can clap with me, or if you're not so sure you're going to do it right, you can listen to me do it. Here it goes. 1, 2, here I go. 1, 2, and 3, E and a 4. 1, 4, and. All right, try it with me if you haven't already. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, E and a 4. 1, 4, and. Now you might say, well, Mrs. Salzman, I can say tas and titis and ticka-tickas. Why don't we just do that instead of counting? Counting allows you to go a little bit further with difficult rhythms. Tas and titis, you can go to a certain point and then it gets a little tricky when you have harder rhythms. Counting allows you to go further. So I'm giving you a bridge into harder rhythms and how to interpret them. Let's do it one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, E and a 4. 1, 4, and. All right. We're going to review this again. If you need to run through it again, go ahead and do that. Also, it would be a good idea to write this down and put this also in your music binder so that you can have it with you when you go to secondary. It's a great tool to know how to interpret rhythms. I hope to see you next time, and we'll do some more of the same and also some more challenging things.